Thanks. The first action today was to thank the outgoing National Chief, Perry Bellegarde. And it was pretty subdued as the whole thing took place online. Bellegarde received an eagle feather, and he was played an honor song. Now, the second move was to decide whether they were even going to choose Bellegarde's successor at this National Council. The shift to online has some delegates questioning whether the election should be delayed until they can get together in person. Now, it was a really interesting debate. The nations requesting the delay were saying there's too much happening between COVID, residential schools, wildfires, and floods to take the time out to pick a national chief. Now, the nations opposed were saying all of those same things were the reason that they needed a new national chief, to have leadership at a time of crisis. Now, Gwitchin-Chief Dana Tizia Tram was in favor of the delay. He seconded the motion, and he pointed out that your level of satisfaction with remote meetings has a lot to do with how fast your internet is. Now, Tizia Tram was joining in from Old Crow in the Yukon. That's a remote fly-in community. It's amazing he even got a signal out. Here's how he puts it.
I come to you today while wildfire smoke hangs in the air of my community thick, while we have our first case of COVID in our community, 80 miles north of the Arctic Circle, 60 miles east of the Alaska border, in a rural community where there is no road access, in a community where I cannot be on a phone call longer than 20 minutes without it dropping, with unstable and continuously worsening internet connection. I come to you today tired, concerned, but also appreciative of this opportunity to address this issue.
Eventually, it was defeated. 36% of the voting delegates were in favor. The rest opposed or abstained. Only 164 votes were recorded. That's pretty low for AFN. Now, emergency motions were up next, focused on the AFN response to the ongoing discoveries of unmarked graves, and how should the church and government be held responsible. Lots of consensus that they should be held responsible. The debate was about the how. Now, tomorrow brings the election of a national chief. 7 candidates, and you need 60% of the votes cast to win. If it doesn't hit 60%, lowest vote getter is dropped, they have another ballot. So unless one candidate starts to emerge as an early frontrunner, we could be at this pretty late tomorrow night. Back to you in Winnipeg.